Who are we?
Alrighty. Hey, that's yeah. I always say I'm gonna do the introductions, and then I say, "Who are we?" and I let you take the wheel. So
You tell them.
you tell them, you tell
You
them,
tell
you
them.
tell whoever's
Whoever's
watching.
watching. It's Nick and Nick from Conquest Cars Canada. How we doing?
Boys and girls, yeah, we're doing good today, Nick. Hopefully, the audience, all 19 people, hi mom, are doing pretty well today. But here we are. So what is this? This is number three. Have we hit number three? I feel like that's a milestone because there's probably 30 that just never made
You're
it
absolutely
to
right.
recording.
3. Wow. Where's all the time gone? Where's all the
Number
time gone?
three. You know, it's funny, but I feel like we're in a good rhythm now, so this is going to be fun. In terms of what we got today, guys, obviously, some fun stuff. We just want to cover some articles. You know, in lieu of things opening up, the industry kind of, or just the world going back to a little bit more normal. We're going to try and stay away from the coronavirus stuff. I think we talked about that last time, right, Nick? Just focus on some fun stuff.
I think that's a
What do you
great
think?
idea, Nick. Yeah, that's if you're looking for the COVID news and whatnot. I mean, it's still everywhere. There's no doubt about that. And of course, everybody, yeah,
But you won't
everybody has
find
to
it
stay
here.
safe and keep your distance and that. But yeah, that's it from that part of the segment. So
Before we begin, too, Nick, I messed up here. I showed the label, the PC Blue menu. I'm drinking a fizzy water. We are not sponsored by PC Blue Label in any of the brands that you see here. Not yet, at least. But hey, you can see my screen. Let's jump into this, man. Are you sponsored by anything today? Let's get it out of the way.
absolutely nothing. If I say anything, or I think I might have used it, tried it, walked by it, but nobody is. I'm not sponsored. No, not at all.
Yeah, and I feel like it's important in nature, obviously, with Joe Rogan's new podcast deal for 100 million. Somebody sponsored that. That's for
Absolutely.
sure.
Joe, we're gonna get there. This is number 3.
Number three, yeah. All we need to do is a little bit more drugs and punch each other, and
We'll be
things
there.
may work out. Let's talk about punching the gas pedal. Volvo officially sets a limit speed on every model to 112 miles per hour. Okay, so 180 kilometers. Did it need to be done? Do you think somebody was congratulated? Do you think anybody asked for this? Like, is this news now? This is like very after everything that's been going on. This is almost like child's play.
Well,
Like this is
you know
news.
what? This is exciting news, actually, Nick. They're going in the right direction of keeping everybody under 200 kilometers an hour. Uh,
Yeah,
you know,
306.
with no
306.
traffic on the road, I think this was a good opportunity for them to make mention of that. It doesn't matter anyway. I mean, you can still get a ticket doing 180. So, you know what?
Wow. Yeah, like talk about what is it? As soon as you're over 150, you're going to jail, and the vehicle's going right
Well,
to the impound lot. Then as soon as you're over 160,
Well, they did
like,
that with
you're a hero.
with tractor trailers, though, right? I believe it was 110 or 105. They put governors
Really?
on them in Canada, but I don't think they did it so much in the States. I remember we were going to Florida, and this truck flew by me. So I guess there's no regulations there whether you could do 130, 140. Again, I leave this up to the 19 viewers. We love to be corrected. So, Mom, if you know anything about this, please let us know. This will be helpful.
It's funny because like there's a jurisdiction. Obviously, if this is in Canada, so first of all, in the states, let's just stick with Canada. But if you're caught driving over 150, like it's done. You're done. So it's funny. It's funny that they bumped it up an extra 30 kilometers. It's like okay for those speed demons who still want to drive a Volvo,
I
not
can't
all
wait
hope
to
is lost.
I can't
Like
wait
what
till
a
Volvo
tease!
comes out. And again, guys, we're not sponsored by Volvo. I know we've said it 10 times already,
Not
but
at
we're
all.
not. Um, right? With that being said, I would love for them to come up with the fuel consumption at 180k. We're using 9.6 liters per 180k. They're going to start some new trend now. You know, everything's 7 liters per 100k. Volvo's going to put the stamp on it. The consumption at 180. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, and did you see that article that came out too? There were scientists saying that they discovered there's some kind of energy going around in Antarctica, and they were measuring it with weather balloons, and they're saying that maybe there's enough evidence for a theory that a parallel universe exists. I feel like this article came out of that weather balloon, and in some alternate timeline, there's somebody who's really being congratulated, and they're really marketing it that Volvo is the safest car at 180 kilometers an hour.
Well, that'll come next, but you know
Right?
what?
Like,
They are a tank. There's no doubt about it. I mean, they've definitely.
yeah, weren't they the first cars with seatbelts?
Can I say yes?
They were.
And again, we are open for corrections.
That is true. We're open for discussion,
Liberal
liberal
discussion.
discussion.
Thank you.
Yeah. So 180 kilometers an hour. It's like if I was the guy who did that, and if it's funny, if this was a Tesla thing, they would have made it like 181 just to irritate people,
Oh,
right?
Elon will come
Like-
up with that.
like
I think he's. I think right now he's talking about renting, isn't he? I think he's selling all of his properties and he's deciding to rent a home or something now. This guy. This is the same guy that came out a couple weeks ago saying that his stock is worth too much money. Stop raising
Yeah.
the price of my stock. You ever hear that from Amazon or Google? Guys, listen.
That's funny though, eh?
$1,400 per share is too much money. Stop.
Yeah, we can't.
Yeah,
we can't
stop.
justify it.
That
We
was
can't
incredible.
justify
What
it.
great news.
That is very humble, and I feel like it would be humble enough to set. Honestly, imagine you're a Tesla driver, and they decide, you know what, you can't go faster than 149 kilometers an hour on a highway road. They could probably map that out, right? Then you could market it that a Tesla, you will never lose your car because a cop will never be able to get you going over 150. Isn't that? I feel like that'd be a hilarious marketing angle.
Yeah, that's. Yeah,
maybe
you're
for
onto
another
something
day.
here. I mean, again, we could talk about this in episode 4 if you want to. Come back to it.
Yeah, I feel like our episodes are going like the Star Wars movies. Like all of a sudden we're in order, and then all of a sudden they're like, you know what, we actually missed a few years. We missed the prologue, and then they go back in time.
Because I think it was 1977 when the first one came out. So I watched the first 3. Then all of a sudden somebody's telling me,
Okay.
no, this is the first one. And then I think Luke Skywalker's a girl, and then he becomes a boy. It's just it's got confusing for me. But I did watch the first 3. I thought I'd share that with you, Nick.
Yeah. No, me too, man. I remember Jabba the Hutt. Okay, so if Jabba the Hutt could drive a car, would he be driving like a 2005 Hummer? What would he be?
Yeah,
in?
I think so. That's a
Or do you think he'd be? You think he'd be in a GMC like a Savannah with all the seats out and just
Savannah with all the seats out,
his whole posse.
dropping off newspapers by the bundle. It reminds me of my old boss when I was a kid, and I used to deliver newspapers down in Bloor Street. He was the guy was
Really?
the size of Jabba the Hutt, and he had that van, and there was no seats in it. We all sat in the back there on the floor, and we used to just drop us off, and we'd go drop off newspapers. That was cool. Hey, like
that. Yeah. I wonder what he'd be driving in. Could fit into something for the Hutt, eh?
beautiful.
That's excellent.
Beautiful.
Okay, well, you know what? Maybe we'll have a Jabba cam, but when the Wi-Fi is a little better. But hey, that's cool. That's fine with me. What? I have a COVID-19 article up. But watch this. See you later. Closed. Not interested. We're on to better things. Hey, you know what I want to talk to you about? This is off the beaten path. Are you familiar with Lime and Bird, the scooters?
You know what? I'm going to be honest because I've been honest all along since episode. No.
Okay.
Are we sponsored by them?
Revenge of the Eye. No, we are absolutely not sponsored by Bird. In fact, really recently, so they're an electric scooter company. So we went a few years. Chelsea and I we went down on a road trip to California, and all across Southern California, these scooters are literally littered. Like you will trip over them on the sidewalk. Right? There's hundreds of them, and the best part is, all you do is you tap your phone to them, and you go, and it charges you like a nickel a minute or something stupid like that, or a mile or something, right? But the interesting way that they work is they focus on, so obviously the startup economy, they focus on the last mile. So public transportation is great, but it's getting to the bus stop or the train station, right? And it's getting off of that to your work, right? And that's obviously where the majority of most people's trips, the travel time is spent. So anyways, these guys had these scooters everywhere. I thought it was really funny because this article was talking about the micromobility will be a key component to the future of urban mobility. And obviously they're talking about scooters and going into a whole lot of detail. But I could not believe Nick literally everywhere. The best part is speaking about this, somebody will basically come pick them up and throw 5 or 6 or 7 in the back of a truck, take them home and charge them, and you make money.
Wow.
Did you know that?
I did not know that. I did not know that. This is good information. I'm going to share this with my loved ones.
There you go. So check this out. I'm going to see if I can pull up a photo. So Southern California, like, man, it's literally
But the
everywhere.
question I think the listeners have: can this do over one? Can it do
180
over
like
is that
oh yeah, you know what, that would be great. Maybe if you set up like 3 or 4 of them right overhead. Can they do 180? Not quite, but I was gonna pull up a photo, but the reason I bring it up, they're actually coming to Toronto.
Wow.
Did you know that? They're coming to they're coming to Toronto. I wasn't sure if it was this year or probably next year at this point. But yeah, they're going to be bringing them, and you're going to be allowed to drive them around the city, and it's so dirt cheap. But they're going to be everywhere, and obviously, Toronto, you get Canada, you get 2-3 months out of the year where maybe you could ride a scooter without killing yourself.
Yeah, well, I mean, again, let's try something new, right? I mean, that's the way to do it. And if it's to take.
Yeah, well, much fun. So, do you see this pile of? I don't know if this is gonna go. You guys were not sponsored. Yeah, I thought that was pretty and so interesting to think about. Like if I was back in school and I knew that one of these scooters was an option, I would probably be overtaking the bus. Like
if it's
right?
Yeah, if it's 25 Celsius out.
Yeah, and then you just toss it. And
right, the guy in the van comes and gets them anyway.
Yeah, why do you care, right? And the best part is you can ride them and you don't even have to put money in them. Right? Like they'll still work like a scooter, but it's a little bit easier for a nickel a kilometer to get it to go for you, right? Interesting times, eh? I can't. You know what? It's so weird that's only his. Like they're not profitable. Let me be the first to say that. Apparently, they're not profitable. How could you by littering the streets with all this? And then trying to just recoup off 5 cents at a time. But the whole idea is it's like the motto of how Uber kind of came around. Like they just charged next to nothing compared to a taxi.
Yeah, but imagine all of a sudden you're waiting out front of your building or your house, and then the guy shows up to pick you up on that scooter.
Well, listen, if it was a little bit cheaper, that's fine.
Well, normally, if you went and got it yourself, it's 5 cents a kilometer. But today, Johnny's going to pick you up for 3 cents a kilometer. So
that's true, and he's gonna give you mouthwash. He's gonna give you a water bottle. He's gonna give you the Uber treatment. How funny would that be? Hey, do you need gum? Have you ever been in an Uber like that, Nick? Where they're seriously equipped?
And I've only ordered
Get out of here.
an app once. Yes.
Are you?
Yes. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
I'm not a ride share. I like to drink and drive. I do my car. I'm joking. I'm always a desk driver. So,
it's fun.
I've never had to really take a ride share. So.
Absolutely. Yeah, I was gonna try and pull it up, but yeah, some of these guys, like you get in the car, Nick, they have the whole setup. They got obviously the back, like the driver's seats, the pockets on the back. They'll have it stuffed with gum and water bottles, and some of them that really want those 5 stars.
Do they accept tips?
God bless them.
Right? I don't know.
Yes. So the way that this works now is I'm not entirely sure how it worked in the past, but basically you're allowed to tip your driver, and it'll give you that set 5, 10, 15, 20%. But the way that it works is it says, okay, do you want to tip the driver? So you can do that right there. If you drove those customers, you don't know if you're getting a tip for the next hour. So basically, when the ride is completed, so you can't hold like a rider hostage.
Oh.
You know what I mean? And it's the same way that these Uber Eats work, right? It gives you an hour to rate the person or get the tip, or vice versa for both parties. Wow. So it's interesting. So you can't backstab the guy that, hey, you don't tip him right there. Well, he can't necessarily rate you down yet because you didn't give him the tip. And when that hour expires, it's like a little stalemate.
Can the Uber drivers like review their customers? Like they could tell, like don't pick up this guy anymore.
Yeah.
He's,
Absolutely. So you can check out your review. Like this is information on your profile, but here's the reality of it. A 5 means okay, you're normal, right? The problem is like the grading system. You're basically rated out of 5 stars, but I don't think there's anybody on the platform that's lower than probably 4.5. It's like dealership CSI, right? You're just expected to get a 10. Everywhere else is like 10 out of 10. Wow, incredible job. 10 out of 10 is like, okay, you've done your job. A 9 out of 10 means you really messed something up. Right? Like it's the same way CSI works, right?
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, it is, right? So if you get a 9 out of 10, or let's say you're an Uber rider and somebody gave you, if you see a rider and they have a 4.8 rating, that means they're probably keep on driving, don't bother, because you really gotta mess up. And it's almost too like how there was I think you sent me this article, but the scam that was going on with Uber for a while, where you basically people would, as an Uber driver, you can charge if somebody pukes in your car.
Yes.
You know that, right? So the whole scam that was going around was that you would, try and send that off and see if people would notice it. You'd never notice, honestly,
I think,
if you weren't paying that much
attention.
attention,
That
right?
in episode 2, right? I go back to it. I go back to it. Really go deep into the historical data.
Yeah.
And see what's there. But actually, I knew a guy that I sold a vehicle to. He was actually let go from Uber because of poor reviews.
Yeah.
I can't remember if he had 2 poor reviews, or I think it was for driving fast or a little erratic. But I remember him telling me that. Now I think it was only a suspension. I think maybe they get suspended, but I mean, ideally, I mean, how
Makes
else?
sense.
I don't know. It's like a taxi driver. You don't know who you're getting. You don't know how he's going to drive. You don't know anything about him. I think Uber, at least it sounds like they've stepped it up a little bit more, so you have an idea of who you're driving with, or who's driving you. I mean, this guy could be a road rage crazy loon, right? So,
see, the interesting thing too is they have requirements. Obviously, like again, taxis are you got to have a taxi that's registered and all that. But Uber's, there's a certain requirement, of course, I'm sure you know, that it has to be a certain year, make, model on the road to be, qualifiable as a car that, Uber is proud to have a driver driving.
Here's an interesting fact. Let me bring it up to you. I remember selling one of my customers, a new car, a new vehicle, and he had to get a safety from me, a safety certificate for Uber.
Okay.
On a new vehicle.
Ooh.
Isn't that interesting? And he fought with me. I said, this is not normal. Why would you need a safety on a new vehicle? And we had to do it.
Yeah.
I winded up paying for it myself to keep the deal, because he thought in his head that it was included. And I said, and we got into a
it makes sense.
Heated argument, but I couldn't justify it in my head how you would need certification on a brand new vehicle. But I guess that was their policy, right? Policy's policy, and he didn't want to disrupt anything. He was a loyal Uber guy, super nice guy, super nice customer. Don't get me wrong, he was a super nice guy. And it got heated for about 25 minutes because I was ignorant towards it, and I was actually getting upset that I couldn't believe that he was asking for a certification on a new vehicle. But needless to say, we wind up doing it.
Wow.
But so if anybody's listening, any of our listeners out there, if you know anything more about this, please share some information.
I like that. I'm sure, again, it's interesting. Like, you know what I think we should do? We should probably just do a podcast. With an Uber guy, yeah. Damn, we learn everything we need to know about Uber. Ask an expert.
Wow.
There you go.
I like it.
This segment, Ask an Expert. We asked an Uber driver, right? I think that would be a fun little experiment. But that's when the Wi-Fi is stronger. We need 5G for that.
Yes.
That was in episode 2.
Oh yeah.
That was episode.
Yeah. 5G.
Yeah. So take a look at this one. I don't know. I threw up a bunch of articles here. This is the one. Automakers must take back return lease vehicles. I was laughing at this. So apparently, there's some dealerships in the states that said we don't want to take any cars back.
Right, right. Yeah. I don't know what to do with them. Yeah, exactly.
You know, we can't sell them. We can't sell them right now. We don't want to take them. Like, what do you do? What is stalemate? I feel like that would be so easy to just slap the hands of the automaker. Like, why even put up a fuss? You're going to have to take that vehicle back. Like, legally, it's yours.
Doesn't Mercedes have
What
to
a,
buy X amount back? I believe so. I think they do. I
I'm
think
sure
they
they
do. I
do.
think I
I'm
don't
sure
know
they
the
do.
exact number. I don't know if it's 60% or 40%, somewhere around there. That Mercedes has to buy them. Yeah, buy them back.
That'd be interesting. And oh, I can't wait for an Ask
Yes.
an
Oh
Expert.
yes. Oh
Ooh,
yeah.
that's
Oh,
a
that's coming. That's coming. Put that in my things to do list.
yeah, yeah. How do you know you're going to get as a dealer? What goes on behind the scenes when a car is returned, like a lease? I know we were hot on that, but that'll be a really
Yes.
interesting segment. To push on that, right? Check that out. Hyundai dealer towed cars away instead of fixing them.
Jeez.
I don't, so basically, they said, you know what, people are dropping off their cars to service them, and we felt it was unsafe, so we don't want them on our property.
It's
Can you imagine that? Wow.
everybody, and I say to everybody that everybody's been doing some really good policing. But I mean,
Yeah.
there's a little bit of above and beyond. You know, what should be policed? At the end of the day. But I mean, I
Wow.
guess everybody wants to stay as safe as they can, and so
It's interesting though. It's one thing to say, you know what, we can't service your car. So these people literally had it towed away. So this lady, for her Hyundai Kona, she had it for 2 months at an impound lot unknowingly. She needed to get her car back. They charged her $150 a day in storage fees. She
wow,
owed $6,000.
not knowing, not knowing. Wow.
Yes, not knowing. Well, obviously, I'm seeing right here that dealership is no longer affiliated with Hyundai.
Yeah,
See you later. You're done.
yeah.
You're over.
They
You lose
probably own the
everything.
storage lot. So,
Yeah, probably. Yeah. See you later. You're zoned for a gas station
yeah.
now, nothing more. Yeah, you're zoned for a scooter charging location. Can you imagine
At 5 cents a kilometer.
that? Yeah, guys just doing scooter kickflips on your store's property. Imagine you just pave the lot. You just get a bunch of e-scooter boys hanging out, grinding the curbs.
Beautiful. That's beautiful.
Unbelievable. You know what? We got a couple of interesting articles, and the other one, this is old news. This Suburban. We're not even going to talk about it. But Nick, last but not least, I want to talk about. We talked about the what was it? The
Oh, the Santa
2020 Santa
Cruz.
Cruz. What is that? Tell the people about that. What do
Well,
we
I
think
tell
about
you,
this car?
this is going to be the latest greatest thing here. The Santa Cruz. I was looking at it there. I was reading up on it. I think there's room in the market for a vehicle like this. They're saying they're going to be putting out some good fuel economies and good numbers, and yeah, I really like it. I like the look of it. It's sharp looking. I believe I
Hmm.
actually believe Hyundai's been talking about this for a long time. A pickup truck. So I'm
Yeah.
hoping. I truly am. I'm hoping that they bring it out. There's room for it. It's fresh. It's a fresh design. It's a fresh look. I think it's going to be a ton of fun with a ton of equipment. Um,
Yeah.
but it's nice because that segment's very small. I mean, you have the Tacoma. Uh, what else? You have the Ranger, right?
Yeah, you have the Colorado and you have the Canyon from GMC and Chevy, but yeah, you don't have a lot of options. And I feel like the interesting thing too, I really hope these guys come out and they make it a lease worthy truck. Like that would be unbelievable because all these little mid-sized
Well,
trucks, they're not really like they
well,
don't make sense to
well, what
lease. They don't
well,
hold their
what really
value like a
holds its
full
value
size.
is the Tacoma. The Tacoma, I mean,
Yeah, of course, hands
it's
off.
doing really well. And the Ridgeline used to be a nice little small pickup truck, no doubt about it. Then they changed the design. They
Yeah,
changed this. It's more drives like a car. Toyota Tacoma's always kept true, right? I mean, they've made some changes over the years. They've changed their engine for a little bit better fuel economy, but this is a nice fresh look.
yeah,
I mean, I'm looking at it right now, and it's a beauty. I think they're going to do really well with this. I truly,
yeah.
truly do, and I think it's going to work the demographics for men and women. It's got a nice beefy look to it. It's sleek.
It does.
I'm excited. I really hope they bring it to Canada. I truly do, because I think there's definitely room. There's room for this type of vehicle.
And it's funny. So, Nick, as you know, Nabil and I were out yesterday. We did a review of the brand new 2021 Chevrolet Trailblazer, which is, the throwback to the old model, but obviously sits in this weird new segment. And I think a truck like this, like the Ridgeline, never necessarily competed. Correct me if I'm wrong, against the Tacoma, and it never really competed against a full size truck either. It was kind of like an outlier.
The Ridgeline. Yeah, you know what?
Yeah.
They had their own little following, similar
Right.
to the Tacoma, right?
Yeah, yeah. And it's interesting because like it's almost like that's kind of what's happening now, but it's becoming more niched. Like a lot of people are going after the segment, but what I'm talking about is those like compact crossovers that are bigger than your average 5-seater, but not quite as small as the others. It's weird. They decided they needed a more in
Right.
between
Yeah.
model, right? So in every manufacturer now has a like a real tiny compact crossover, and they have a 5-seater, and they have a 5-seater with a little bit more trunk. But now all of a sudden, like the Trailblazer, it sits between. There's now 4 5-seater SUVs in the Chevrolet
Right.
lineup, which is weird. But again, they all range obviously a little bit in size, but it's like every one is an extra 6 inches. Like it's so strange that that's becoming a hot niche. But yeah, it's almost like small cars, but not too small. I imagine pickups would be the same way. Like, if you're a guy who does construction, this was the biggest thing when I was doing construction, Nick. Remember
Yep.
when I used to wake up at 6?
Remember that? Good times. Good
Yeah. So
times.
those early mornings. But you had guys, like, again, you don't necessarily have to be hauling around a lot of tools, but a lot of guys, you have dirty work clothes. You don't want to put them in your car. You put them in like an organizer in your trunk. A lot of guys would just prefer, you know what, I'd rather have like a tonneau cover on a truck like this, throw my boots in, and that's as easy
But
as
you
it
know, it's
gets,
funny that
right?
you're
So
going there. It's actually very interesting that you are going that way, because a lot of times now, the full size pickup trucks, people are buying them instead of a car. Right? They're not even using them for
yeah,
work.
and
They're not
just
even
for the
using
sake
them
of
for work.
having,
Just they want to be up a
yeah,
little higher. Everybody's
yeah,
knees are getting bad as they get older. Uh, but
yeah.
again, going back to this, and I'm looking at it. This is fresh. This is a very nice looking truck. I think it's going to appeal
Yeah.
to a lot of people, Nick. I do.
Well, you know what's interesting, man. And I'll tell you this. So, like, I may even be the perfect demographic. So, Chelsea and I, we had the intention to go
Right.
longboarding over the weekend. Okay, so you put the longboards in the back of the trunk. First of all, like obviously driving the demo, the terrain, it's so
Right.
clean back there. I don't put anything back there. I wasn't really ready to put my skateboard. It's got all a bunch of mud and dirt and shit on it, right? But you think about that, it's like, would I have preferred to throw it in the back of some kind of little compact
For sure.
pickup truck?
Yeah, for
Probably,
sure.
right? And the same thing too with my brother. Like he's a project manager, so he's around job sites, but maybe he's going to bring lights home or a heater or just a set of tools that somebody left at the site. But he doesn't need a full out pickup truck. So I imagine this thing leases really well. It's easy to get around in. The fuel economy is great. I feel like this is a car for an everyday person.
I think
It would just
I
be a
think
lot of
every
fun, honestly.
manufacturer is looking for that perfect vehicle for the consumer, right? Fuel economy,
Yeah.
space, safety. Um, the list goes on. But the best part about having a pickup truck is that you'll always get new friends, and you'll always be asked to move something, right? So, wait,
Yeah.
hold on. Doesn't Nick have a pickup truck? Just, you know what?
Yeah, he's got the
Call him
Hyundai
fast.
Santa
We'll grab that
Cruz.
chair and that table, right? And you become that
Yeah,
guy.
yeah.
You do. You can ask any pickup truck owner. They've gotten that call.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, imagine too the amount of times where I've helped, one of my family members or a friend. All of a sudden, somebody's needs to move around a bike or something, and you shove it. I've done this to myself when I picked up a bike. I shoved it in the back of the SUV, and I'm like, yeah, it fits, but I'm getting grease everywhere.
It doesn't fit. It
Right?
doesn't
Like-
fit the same because of the ceiling.
Yeah,
You got a ceiling.
you can't
right?
throw.
So it's yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, okay, so you're greasing up, you can't fit that in a Rubbermaid. So it's really interesting that I could see this as being
Yes.
super popular.
Yeah.
And you know what? You know what's going to make a big comeback? And I don't know why it hasn't already, but drive-ins, man.
Drive-ins. You're right. Didn't I think Keith Urban just did a show at a drive-in? And he said he did.
You're
Keith
lying.
Urban, yeah, big fan, and he did a show at a drive-in. He said it was perfect.
It's
Everything was set up.
we make a comeback.
Um,
Yeah,
right,
clean.
right.
Everybody's in
But
their own space.
I remember going to the
Everybody's happy,
drive-in,
man.
and I couldn't wait to get a foot-long hot dog. Now I'm going back a few years, but the only
Yeah,
place that has that now is the exhibition, really, and the exhibition is not happening this year. The C&E, so
yeah, yeah. That see, there's a drive-in obviously close to where I am, but it's interesting. They're closed down. It's like you'd assume that that'd be the best way to watch a movie. Just hang out in your own car.
well, you know what? It's
Right?
unfortunate that the
Like,
property's $1 million an acre. You'd be able to buy it and reopen, and
that would
people
be
would love
cool,
it. I
though, eh?
think you'd get the younger generation going. It was just something just has to catch on. And
It's
they're a ton of
fun,
fun.
man.
We love going to the drive-in when we used to go to the drive-in, and I mean,
Yeah.
they're few and far between now. But you know, remember those outings?
Well, there you go.
Lying
You
on the
could,
dashboard of the car watching a movie. I can't do that now, but
yeah,
things have changed. I've gotten a little bigger, but I remember
yeah,
just a fast story here because we're on a podcast. Kelly and I, she was dying to go to a drive-in years and years ago, and we were out in Aurelia.
yeah,
And I'm like, I don't feel like going to the drive-in. Oh, let's go to the drive-in. So, okay, let's go. So we got it all set
yeah.
up, backed it up. I had the van. We had everything set up. I had the back door open. It was all exciting, everything like that. She fell asleep halfway through the movie.
You get home,
I
you
wound
wake
up
her up.
watching the
Yeah.
movie. I didn't stay for the second movie, but I wound up watching the movie, and I'm just like,
Mhm.
wow. And people ask me, "Are you still married?" I said, "I'm still married." So there you go.
There you go. Well, imagine that. It's a cool summer evening. Coronavirus is in full effect, and you want to go to the drive-in, and you don't necessarily want to sit in your car. What do? You whip around the Hyundai Santa Cruz, and you lay in the back of it.
Wow, you just
That's the
painted a
perfect.
picture. If you would have had a sunset in there
Yeah,
and
sunset,
oh,
seagulls,
jeez. You, wait.
seagulls.
Are we on a podcast here? You just took me right away. You just took me somewhere else, Nick. That was just crazy. I hear the water trickling in the background, oh man, that
Yeah.
was awesome.
Yeah, you hear the soft crunch
Oh,
of gravel. You hear children laughing. You hear the hinges squeaking in the playground right
fresh
below the
cut
screen.
grass,
You know, fresh cut grass.
beautiful.
Yeah, the smell
Oh,
of butter in the air.
butter in the air. Oh my god. Big question though. Would you butter your bacon? I'll leave that with you. Okay.
I don't butter my bacon. I don't butter my bacon. Here. I want to know if you're on team margarine or team
I'm
butter.
a butter guy, but it does wreck fresh bread. So, yeah.
Yeah, it does. It does. You know what? I like, obviously, when you're talking popcorn, like pretty much all popcorn has margarine on it or butter. Like I swear it's the base
Yeah,
cell margarine.
I
Is
think
it
they've
not?
gone that way. I mean, I use Baecel for Kelly, but I do enjoy butter. Um, that's just me.
Well, there's some things you can't. Yeah, there's some things you can't make. Like I tried to make hollandaise sauce with margarine.
That'd be a no go. Yeah,
It doesn't work. You need butter. You need the cream and the salt, right?
But I had
When
a
do you
toasted
think,
tomato sandwich today with
yeah?
margarine on it. It was very good. Yeah, it was good.
Yeah. See, yeah, that's they definitely have their corners that
Yes.
they both win in. But can you imagine? You pop open the trunk of the
Yes.
Hyundai Santa Cruz, and there's a 9-volt power adapter. It's you're out camping with the Hyundai Santa Cruz. You
Yes.
plug in the radio. You plug in the stove. Now you're I don't know, trunk side grilling
You know
breakfast
what?
or dinner.
Send me the lease program. I'm very interested. I'm very interested.
I feel like it could be a really fun car,
Well,
man.
if this comes
honestly.
out with a sunroof, they're gonna do some crazy numbers. I tell you that much. Yep, I
The
tell you that
moonroof,
much.
yeah. The
Yep.
sunroof or the moonroof, that would be. You know what? I honestly think that these cars would definitely make a comeback. Like these mini pickups, man. I feel like they could be a big wave. But we've covered a lot of ground today,
Nick,
haven't
we covered a lot of ground today. It's always a ton of fun. I can't wait till we get to 20 listeners and episode 4. So I'm excited.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. So, hey, anybody who's listening, guys, we have Nick. Should I say it? Should I say we have a ton of free charger cables? If you have an iPhone or an Android, we are not sponsored by iPhone or Android, but we have charger cables we are more than happy to give away for free. They do have our cards in them, some information. We're always here to help get your trade-in appraised. We just totally forgot to plug our program, eh?
Yeah,
So
it's just
it's, literally, we gave more airtime to
we do
Basel
have a
than
ton
our
of fun,
website.
and we're not sponsored by Basel or Hyundai
Or PC Blue Label.
for sure. Yeah, that's,
Well, somebody in the household maybe.
no,
But-
no, sir, no, sir.
Yeah, we're not allowed to bring that up till there's
That's right.
till there's
That's
payment.
right.
But sounds good. So Nick, I don't know. You started it. You sign us off, man.
Well,
What do the
listen,
people need
guys.
to know?
Again, we're glad you took the time out to listen to us. I hope you had a lot of fun. If you have any questions or anything, please feel free to email us anytime. We look forward to the next one, and we will have some guests. I know we keep saying that we will have some guests, but the guests that we want need 6 months' notice. So I'm really trying to push the envelope here and get
Yes.
these guys on sooner. So we thank you so much for
Yeah.
listening again.
Yeah, Matthew McConaughey's visa expired, so we're in the hole.
Yeah.
You know how it goes with Matthew. He's a great guy, but he's never on time, right? Well, it's probably because they limited the Lincolns to 50 kilometers an hour or something. Maybe that's his excuse.
Never. I don't think anybody's going to follow that trend, Nick. I don't think anybody's going to follow that trend.
I would one up it if I was sitting at the head of a company. I'd say, you know what, things are a little too boring. We're gonna make our speed limit 181. I would 100% do that tomorrow. Just to bring good fun to both brands.
I love the
right?
way you think. I love the way you think. Awesome.
Alrighty. Well, hey, boys and
Thank you
girls,
so
thanks
much.
a lot. Check us out on the site, and
Thank
we
you,
look forward
guys.
to the
Thank
next
you.
one.
Have a safe, wonderful evening. Stay safe. Thank you. Bye.